Okay, folks, we're going to do two different types of dyeing. One involves Kool-Aid, not a natural material like an herb or a plant, or even tea or coffee. So we're going to use Kool-Aid to do this dye and get some nice vibrant color. And we're going to use vinegar and a little bit of salt as a mordant. And we're going to microwave it instead of letting it simmer on the stove for an hour. In another video, we'll use natural materials and we'll do the simmer on the stove for an hour method. Now the mordant is a fixative. It helps your fabric, whether it's wool or some other natural material, accept the dye. And the heat actually sets the dye. So I'm going to pour in about 2 tablespoons of my distilled white vinegar. And I'm going to put in 1 teaspoon of salt, which is optional. What type of material you're... Oh, wow, that's a lot of salt that I just spilled. Throw a little over my shoulder to counteract the bad luck. What type of mordant you're using can depend on preference, what you have on hand, but is also largely dictated by what type of dyeing agent you're using. If you're using berries, salt alone is the best mordant. Lots of people use alum, cream of tartar. Some people use pneumonia. Vinegar is generally always a part of the mixture, but not with berries. So I'm going to go ahead. I have my, need to stir here a little bit. You do not want to use something that you're worried about dye getting on. It's better to use glass, stainless steel, metal, or cheapy plastic utensils. This is already stained from canning, so I'm not going to worry about using it. Now the more Kool-Aid or whatever material it is you're using to dye with, be it natural or not, the more you use, the more bold and vibrant your color is. So I have my vinegar in there. I have my salt. Oh, this berry Kool-Aid not only makes a pretty color, but also smells really good. Okay, so I think I bought 2 of these. Make sure I'm grabbing the right one, that it's actually, yep, blue raspberry. So I'm going to grab my other packet of blue raspberry and go ahead and put it in to make sure I have a nice vibrant color. I'm going to use this, and later on when a friend shows me how, in a wet felted playscape, and this is going to be pond or lake, ocean. It's going to be a waterway of some type, the felt that's in this part. Now I'm going to place my felt in. It's still damp. I have wrung it out but not squeezed it. Oh, I'm still finding little debris. I am very grateful for my wool. It was from a friend who sheared it and knew that I wanted to use it for stuffing. Next time I think I'll go volunteer to wash and brush out the lambs as part of my return on the gift here. Just like you want to get less debris and less dirt you had to try to work out of your wool, it's best to go ahead and have them cleaned up like you're getting ready to take them to the fair. Now you only want to pour in enough water, preferably lukewarm, that will allow your wool to soak. You don't want to put an overabundance of water. And again, you don't want to manipulate the wool any more than what you have to, or it's going to be felted on you before you're even able to use it. It's going to kind of push it down there as gently as possible to make sure it's saturated. I'm getting a little concerned about felting as it is. It's going to poof up. That doesn't mean it's felting. It's when it really mounds and works together. So I am going to go ahead and mush around a little more. And the cleaner your wool is, the more white it is without any stains on it from the sheep just aging over time or the environment it's been exposed to. More readily the color will look more even. I don't want to say more readily accepts the dye, though it may look like that. If you have dark spots in wool that won't come out, you want to save that wool for when you're doing a darker color so that the hue will blend in more naturally. I think I have one more, and I do, blue raspberry. I'm going to go ahead and put it in. I'm afraid my blue is going to end up being a little light. Still going to be beautiful, but I wanted more vibrant color, which is something people choose to use Kool-Aid a lot for instead of natural ingredients. But when you use extra amounts of the natural ingredients, you can get beautiful colors depending on the alum you use and the type of natural ingredients, you can get a pastel, you can get muted tones, you can get some beautiful shades, but something really bright and vibrant. I get more if I'm doing natural dye mix, with a berry. Calendula flowers are great. You can use vegetables, beets, carrots. As you'll read in the article, there's all sorts of natural ingredients that you can use to make your dye. So I'm going to let it soak for a few minutes, and then I'm going to put it in the microwave for about 5 to 6 minutes. And what I typically do is put in about 2-minute increments and check it to make sure it's accepting the dye, that I don't need to add more, that I haven't had exposed to the heat too long, that my water hasn't already dissipated, soaked up by the wool. So you're just kind of checking on it to make sure it stays, is accepting the color well. And if need be, I wouldn't really mush it anymore with the spoon. I put on a pair of gloves after the first, if not second check, and pick it up, my wool up, and turn it upside down and push it back down in to make sure that it's getting evenly saturated. And then it will be ready to go. This is a quicker method than doing it on the stove. You could do it on the stove with the Kool-Aid, be kind of pointless. It doesn't need to take that long. Using a natural dye and speeding up the process in the microwave will work depending on the natural ingredient that you're using. It works fine with turmeric. It's awful powerful dye. If you're using something that's a little bit weaker, like a dried herb, it will still work, but you'll get a much more muted tone and need to use a lot more of the natural material than you would if you did the slow simmer on the stove. This is what my Kool-Aid dye looks like 2 minutes in. You can see the steam rolling off of it. I'm going to go ahead and set the timer for another 2 minutes. And I will put my hands in there with gloves, being careful because it is hot. And I will flip my mound of wool upside down to make sure everything gets fully saturated and put it in for another 2 minutes.